Hello! Time for pen talk number 4, or 4, if I want to use both hands, I guess. First of all, I'm sorry about the kind of strange lighting situation that's going on. I have moved my studio / where I film to a different room in our apartment, and this one is the one that happens to face west, and it is about 7:35 here, and the sun is setting and coming right through the window. But you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. I have the curtains kind of pulled down, which is why you can kind of see the lines from the curtains. So whatever, that's how it goes. Life is unpredictable sometimes. So yeah, so pen talk number 4. I guess these are kind of turning out to be kind of like a bi-weekly thing. Whatever. If it's bi-weekly, that's great. If I can do it weekly, great. We'll just roll with it. So kind of things I want to talk about today are a review that I just finished filming, and I'm going to get it uploaded tonight and hopefully posted tomorrow. Epic ink testing, which is something that I did on my old blog and am now going to be starting up again on my new blog, albeit in a slightly different format. So that's what I'm going to talk about there. Some new notebooks that I just got in the mail today and I'm super duper stoked about. And then I want to talk a little bit about minimalism. Because if you follow me on Instagram, you might know that that's something that I've been kind of interested in lately. Also, I apologize. I didn't realize it, but this room also has a street running right outside of it, so hopefully people won't be too loud. But if you hear cars going by, that's what it is. So, or horrible children. There are a lot of children around here that are just super loud. Ugh. Anyway. Onward. So, okay, review that I just finished filming. I finally got my review for the Craft and Lore Field Notes cover filmed. It'll be up to, I'm hoping to get it uploaded to YouTube tonight, and then, which only makes sense if I upload this tonight and post it. So anyway, I'm hoping to have it posted on Tuesday, the 9th of June. Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm not going to do a written post on it because this is my first leather item review, and so I'm still not quite sure like how I would format a post about it. So I'm going to start with just doing a video review, and we'll move on from there. Plus, I think it's hard to take pictures of these things, and I had some really great sunlight, and I think it really highlighted the color of it. So I think I'm just going to do a video review for this first one. If people really want it in the future, I can do written reviews, but for now, just a video review. So that's that. Yay! Awesome. So, okay, second, epic ink testing. So this is something that I did on my old blog, and I will link to the page on my old blog where I kind of collected all of the posts about it. I'll link to that below. But basically what it was is, if you're kind of new here, what I would do is I would take a whole bunch of inks and I would write on a piece of paper just the name of the ink and the date that I wrote it on there, because sometimes it would take me a while to fill an entire page of paper. So I would divide the paper into fourths, standard letter size paper, so fourths, and I would write the name of the ink and the date on each fourth. So I make this list. And then when I filled it up, that's when I started the test. So each fourth had a purpose. So one was a control that I would put inside of a closed notebook, and that was my control. And then another one got dunked in water to see how water resistant the inks were. Another one got put on the fridge where it would be exposed to ambient light but no direct sunlight or anything like that. And then another one would get put in a sunny window and get exposed to sun for however long I decided to run the test. So that was really okay. I mean, it worked. It was nice because, while some of the inks that most every ink I review, I test the water fastness. This was a good way to kind of have it all together, compare inks to one another for like water fastness, so I can plan to continue doing that. Obviously the control was necessary. I'm finding that the ambient light makes no difference. I've done 3 of them now. I don't think I see any difference in ambient versus the control. So I think I'm going to scrap that category because it takes time to, scan it and everything and then say, oh, nothing changed, okay. So that's kind of something I'm not going to be doing moving forward. Something I'm going to change moving forward. So the way I was doing it with the sunlight ones is this was 2 tests that were running at the same time, which of course you can't see because it's super reflective. Anyway, I'd put them in this kind of plasticky holder, I'd tape it to the inside of the window, and then just leave it. And then what I was trying to do was update it every month, which I think I'm not going to do, partly because it just becomes a lot of work to do it every month, and partly because I think I can restructure it in a way that will give the important information more succinctly and just better organized, I guess. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to take a look at the Epic ink test, obviously at the very beginning, like overview of what inks are being used, and then we can look at the water test results because that's really super quick and easy to do. And then after a week, I'll take a look at the sunlight results, and then I'll take a look at them again after a month, and then again after 3 months, because that kind of gives you things that are super duper sensitive to light will start to fade within a week. Things that are kind of sensitive or pretty sensitive to light will be faded within a month. And then at 3 months, you can see which inks are decently UV resistant and which ones aren't. Because the fact is, unless it's a pigment-based ink, pretty much everything is eventually going to break down in sunlight. This one that I have, this one has been going since January. So this is about 5 months in the sun, and I can tell which ones are pigment-based because they are still super crisp and clear, and pretty much everything else has faded. But some are more resistant to others. So, by 3 months you can really see like, okay, is this a fairly sunlight-resistant ink or is it not? And then, then it only takes 3 months to put all the information together, say, okay, is it a water-resistant ink? Is it UV-resistant? Done. So, but I'm going to even make it better because part of what was hard is that, I would want to compare, what did it look like at 1 month versus 2 months? Well, I was using the same sheet the whole time. And so I had the scans, but it's harder to compare, I couldn't compare it directly. All I had was the scans of 1 month when I was at 2 months, which to me is not as convincing. I wanted to kind of have, the actual papers along the way. So what I've done this time is I've made 5 sections, and so there's going to be fewer inks per section, but I've made 5 sections. One will be the control, of course, one will be the water, and then I'll have one each for sunlight at 1 week, 1 month, and 3 months. So I'll put the 3 sunlight ones in the window, and then at 1 week, I'll pull the 1 week one out, scan it, report on it, tuck it away with the control. Do the same thing at 1 month, and then again at 3 months. So that way I can directly compare at like 1 month, how does this one look with the 1 week one? I don't have to look at a scan. I can rescan them both if I want. But then I really physically have the results from each point. So I feel like that is kind of more controlled. It's a more scientific way to do it, I think. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. I have kind of the first round ready to go. I don't know if I'm quite ready to start it yet because this apartment that I'm living in right now, we kind of got a short-term lease because we wanted to find a lease really fast after I moved back up from Lincoln. And so our lease is actually technically up at the end of July. And so we kind of hit that point where it was like, are we staying, are we going? And we're still not quite sure. We kind of are going to do month to month, but we're still just not quite sure that we want to stay in this specific apartment. So I hesitate to start it now if I don't know that I'm going to be here for 3 months because I kind of hate moving in the middle of a test. But I might just say, meh, I know I'll for sure be here for another week and another month, so I'll have to kind of ponder that for the next few days, and then if I am going to start it, I will of course post about it and all of that. Plus, the other benefit to having the each week and each month and everything is that I can probably do videos about it as well. Because I couldn't really figure out a way to do videos of it before. So yeah, that's where that's going. Hopefully a new one will be starting soon. I'll keep you updated. Okay, so that's that. Then some new notebooks that I got in the mail today. I got these off of pencils.com, which is a website I'd never ordered off of before because I'm not that big into pencils. I want to be. I've been listening to the Erasable podcast lately, and oh my gosh, I really enjoy it. I enjoy the Panatic podcast. That one's great. I really enjoy the Erasable podcast as well because I'm just a nerd. My problem is I like the idea of pencils, but writing in pencil just doesn't really work for me. They're too thin. They're kind of too cranky. I don't know. Pencils just don't work for me, but I love the idea of pencils and kind of the romanticism of pencils. So we'll see. I'm thinking about, there's an art supply store in St. Paul that carries Palomino, like the Blackwing 602 and the Blackwing Pearl and stuff. So I'm thinking about heading over there sometime soon and picking up a dozen just to see, because it's cheaper than buying a new pen and it'd be something kind of a fun adventure. Anyway, so I got these off of pencils.com. They are the Forest Choice Pocket Notebooks. They are a 3.5 by 5.5, so field note size notebook. They kind of remind me like the way that they are of like a composition book, and they have like a stitched spine underneath the spine covering, and they have these kind of really thick chipboard covers. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that they are fairly fountain pen friendly. So I opened them up and I was like, wow, this paper is really smooth, and it's thinner than I thought it was. So I tore out a page and I kind of wrote with whatever stuff I had on hand. So a couple fountain pens, including a decently thick one, as you can see down here at the bottom. And then if you look at the back, let's see if I can kind of shield it from the sunlight. You can see there's not a lot of bleeding. There is some bleeding for the big, thick 1.5 millimeter nib that was inked with a super duper wet ink. But even that, it's not as if you couldn't use the back. I just wouldn't. But for the medium nibs that I tried and the fine nib, it seemed fairly fountain pen friendly. So that's kind of exciting because I've been slacking on using my fountain pens much lately because I've been mostly just using field notes and then horrible copy paper at work. Ugh. And so the problem is that like the paper that I've been writing on has just not been fountain pen friendly. So now that I have these, which are decently fountain pen friendly, I think I can go back to kind of using a fountain pen in my everyday notebook, and that'll be great. So I'm super excited about that. Of course, I'll do a full review soon, but that was a pleasant surprise. They're also like 100% recycled. Let's see. Oh. I ordered 2 packs. They were on sale for like $5 a piece. So I got 2 packs, so 6 notebooks for like $10 plus like $3 of shipping. So that was great. And they are acid-free FSC paper. Anyway, they're recycled paper, so that's great because I am a hippie, so I'm not. I'm just kind of a tree hugger. But anyway, that's super exciting, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so that's those 3 things. So now kind of on to my little bit longer topic. I don't know how long this will be for the day, which is minimalism. So if you follow me on Instagram, I don't know that I've really been talking about it much on Twitter, but on Instagram, I've been kind of posting about this kind of movement towards minimalism that I and my partner Wesley have been making. And I don't know what it was that got me started on it. I mean, I've been interested in this for a long time, like since I was in grad school. I was really interested in it, and at the time it was hard because I didn't have a lot of stuff in general, but the stuff that I did have was kind of crappy, and I didn't have the money to replace it with better stuff, and so it just didn't make sense. I don't know. It was hard for me to make the move towards minimalism when I was in grad school because I was just so stressed out anyway about, being in grad school. And so now that I'm here and I kind of have an adult job and all of that stuff, and I have the support of, Wesley and all of that, it's been easier to kind of take some steps towards it. So kind of the first, I don't know how much I'll talk about this on the blog. If people are interested, I will talk about it as much as people want. If people are totally not interested, I might still talk about it, but because it's an important thing to me, it's my blog after all, but it's an important thing to me, and I'm hoping I can bring a different perspective to it, kind of being a pen blogger, and being a young person who, I don't have a family, I don't live in a beautiful, studio apartment, all that. So anyway, so kind of one of the first steps that I did was I minimized my wardrobe, because, so Wesley is not a minimalist kind of by nature. He has been fully on board with, okay, let's get rid of the junk, let's really clear out our living space. He enjoys that kind of lifestyle. He's different from me in that, like, if I had complete control, I would be one of those people who only has like 100 possessions to their name. Like, I'd be one of those nuts living in a tiny house. Not that they're nutty, I think it's great. But Wesley kind of is very good in that he kind of pulls the reins back and says, no, I don't think that's a very good idea. He's a realist. I am an idealist, I guess. So I figured, okay, the first steps I can start making for me personally is with my things. You know, things like my wardrobe that are only mine. He doesn't care what is in it. He doesn't care if I get rid of all of my clothes and want to, well, he cares if I only want to wear around pajamas. But, you know, he doesn't really care what I do with my closet. So I took all my clothes, I packed up everything except for my favorite things. So I think last time I counted, I had roughly 25 clothing items in my closet. Everything else I packed up in a big bin, and it's in that closet right there behind me. I didn't get rid of everything right away because you know, I packed up a lot of dresses. I packed up, well, a lot of winter clothes. So it would be stupid to have just pitched everything because I live in the Midwest. Winter's a thing. So, but I packed up so much stuff, and that will make it much easier if I want to, in a few months, take a look at it and say, oh, wow, I haven't missed that thing at all. Get rid of it. So that is all kind of out of sight, out of mind. So then it will be easier to get rid of later on. So yeah, so I did that with my closet. So I'm down to like 25 things, including my shoes. And so that's really great. That was kind of a great first step to feeling like I'm more in control of the amount of just stuff in my life. So then after doing that, the bedroom that I'm in right now is the smaller of the two bedrooms in our apartment. And we actually had a friend who was storing his stuff here. He was kind of in between places, kind of wasn't sure where exactly he wanted to live, and then his lease ran up. And so anyway, so he was kind of storing his stuff here for a little while and taking up this bedroom. So this bedroom was completely full, which meant that we had to empty it out before he moved his stuff in here. So when he moved out just last weekend, the weekend before, anyway, a week or two ago, he moved all of his stuff out. He found a place, moved all of his stuff out. Then we had a completely empty bedroom. So I was like, that is going to be my cave of solitude. It's my room. Can't have it. Which Wesley agreed to. So right now, the only things that are in here are my desk and a little like kind of stand thing that has like my pens and my ink samples and my ink bottles and stuff like that. And then the closet behind me is what we're using for some storage. So otherwise, this room is completely empty. Let's see if I can actually show it to you without making people too dizzy. I'm using my laptop, so okay. So you can see there is the window. Around. There's my face. Ah, there's the doorway, and then there's that little stand thing I was talking about, and then we're back at the window again. So it is empty, and it is great. I love it. So that was, you know, kind of the next step, was having this bedroom that basically we don't need. Like, this desk was in our actual bedroom. Everything was in our actual bedroom. So we could have closed this room off and never used it, and we would have been totally happy. So that was another great step forward to say, okay, you know, we've emptied enough stuff out of our apartment that we have an entire room that we don't need. Awesome. I do enjoy having the room, though. I wouldn't close it off. Also, the cats seem to love it in here. I think they really enjoy. Plus, I mean, you know, the fact that this is the only room that gets direct sunlight, and they just enjoy kind of having a big room to run around in and all of that. So that was kind of the next step. So then the next step after that was we kind of looked at our kitchen, because we have a lot of kitchen stuff. We looked at our kitchen and said, okay, we have too much stuff in the kitchen. So we had 6 place settings of Fiesta-ware dishes between the two of us, and there's only 2 of us here. That's it. We only ever cook for 2. We don't entertain. We, you know, if people come over, we usually go out to eat. Because our kitchen here sucks. We don't have a dining room table. You know, we don't entertain. So we're like, why do we need 6 place settings worth of plates and bowls and everything for the 2 of us? So we packed away 3 of the place settings. So now we only have 3 plates, 3 big plates, 3 small plates, 3 bowls out there, plus 2 kind of taller cereal kind of bowls, because the bowls we have are flat and awful for that. So we have that, and then I am a mug collector. I am one of those people where if I see a cute mug, I'm like, oh my gosh, give me the mug. So we had maybe 30 mugs, maybe? And so we decided, okay, each of us can keep out 2 mugs. We can keep out our 2 favorite mugs. That's all we need, is 2 mugs each. So we packed away all but 4 of our mugs. Gone. Then we said, okay, I had 12 place settings worth of silverware that I got from Walmart when I started grad school, which was fine silverware. I mean, it did the job, but 12 place settings is a lot of silverware, and So we would wind up going through a lot of silverware and then have a ton of dirty silverware, and it kind of allowed us to like slack on dishes a lot. And the silverware was starting to get kind of funky and gross because it was just not good quality. So we said, okay, we're done with this. Let's get rid of that. So we got rid of all of that silverware. We went out this past weekend and bought 2 place settings worth of really nice silverware. And that's it. That's all we have. So now we have 2 small spoons, 2 big spoons, et cetera, et cetera. Again, because we don't need more than that. There's only 2 of us here. When do we need more than 2, of any size of silverware at any given time? And if we do need it, we'll just wash it off. We have a sink right there. So that was that. And then, we kind of packed away a couple of Wesley's pans that he has. So those are, back in the closet. We took some, small appliances that we don't use, and we took them to Goodwill today. So those are out of our lives. We haven't been as brutal as some people are. Like, we haven't been just pitching everything. We've been packing a lot of stuff away because we do realize that eventually we might have a house where we'd like to have this stuff. We might have a house where we have more space and more use for this stuff. I'd like to entertain when I'm a little bit older and have a house. So it doesn't make sense to get rid of really nice pots and pans if we have places to store them. Both of our parents have places that we can store them. So, we can put them away for a year or 2. That's fine. So we haven't been super brutal about it, but at the same time, we've been very honest and very much like, is this a thing that we really enjoy having? Is it really worth keeping? Is it really worth the space that it takes up? And if it's not, then we've been putting it in piles to get rid of. And we've been doing a pretty good job. We also have a box in the other room of books that we need to take to sell and things like that. But neither of us has had a really hard time with it. There's a cat back there and it caught my eye. Neither of us has had a super hard time with it, which I think is a really good thing. And so it's been really good. It's been going kind of day to day, but every day I feel like more and more stuff is leaving, and not as much stuff is coming in, and that's great, and I love that. And it just feels so much more free, kind of the less clutter we have and the less just stuff. Like, I'm not one of those people who thinks that you shouldn't have things. If you need things, you should have them. We have a big spaghetti pot. Could we maybe make do without it? Maybe. But we make spaghetti sometimes, and it makes making spaghetti so much easier. And making mashed potatoes so much easier. Things like that. So I enjoy having that thing. It's the stuff that we don't need. A blender that we had sitting on our shelving unit in our kitchen that I never used because it was sitting there, didn't fit on the counter, didn't use it. Get rid of it. There's no reason to keep it. There's no reason to have it taking up space in my life and in my mind if I'm not going to use it. So that's kind of what we've been doing. I kind of lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this? Anyway, it's been progressing. We're kind of, now that we've gotten rid of a lot of the obvious stuff, we're kind of taking it a little bit slower, just kind of, day to day, what stuff can stay, what stuff can go. It doesn't really apply to my pen collection all that much because I just don't have that many pens, and especially because multiple pens I own are out on loan right now to other people. So it hasn't really applied to that. But it has applied to my yarn. I got rid of a bunch of just garbage yarn that I had that wasn't even worth giving to other people. It was just bad stuff. And so I got rid of like an entire garbage bag full of that because I'm the worst yarn hoarder ever and I need to get better about that. But it's been really good. I've really been enjoying it. Then, I remember what I was going to say. So one of the nice things about kind of doing all this, and I realized this when I had to pack away all my mugs, right? So I have a lot of mugs that I really liked. But I realized if I only get to have 2 mugs, then they have to be my favorite mugs. I'm not going to keep out I'm not going to let my 2 mugs be kind of mugs that I'm like, about, right? They need to be my favorite mugs. So I have one that's shaped like an owl. It's super cute. I got it for Christmas, and it's just, I don't know, I just love it. And then I have another one that I actually went out and bought this past weekend, but it's one that I had been oogling at Caribou Coffee for the longest time, and it says, be wild and wander, and then wander and be wild. And I love that sentiment. And so now my 2 mugs are my 2 favorite mugs, and I get to drink out of my favorite mug every day, and not feel like I'm neglecting all the other stuff I have. So that's like kind of the best thing about like this whole process. And the same with my wardrobe. By putting away all the things that I don't really want to wear, but felt like I should because they were there. Now they're not there. Now all that is there is my favorite stuff. So I get to wear all my favorite stuff all the time. So cool. So that alone is totally making it worth it. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Wesley's home, by the way. He's out in the hallway making scary noises at me. I guess that's about it. So that's it. So that's what's been happening. Like I said, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably been seeing a lot of it. But I will try to post a little bit about it on here every so often, kind of as things come up, I think, and as I have relevant things to say about it. I have relevant things to say about it now because we've really made a lot of changes within the past week or two, like since I recorded the last video. But I'm thinking within the next month, maybe, it'll still be a process of kind of just, going through all the boxes, going through the closets still. Because, we've only been here for like 6 months and we've so much stuff here. So it'll still just be a process of doing that. But it's definitely going to be less urgent now that we've gotten all the really obvious stuff out and sorted through. So, yeah, so that'll be fun. Hopefully once we kind of have it all, maybe in a month or so when we kind of really have gone through everything and, and when the apartment has been vacuumed recently and all of that stuff, hopefully I can maybe do kind of an apartment tour just to kind of show like what our space looks like, because I've seen a lot of apartment tours by people on YouTube and they're these beautiful spaces, and I feel like kind of normal apartments get neglected. Like ours is what I would consider a very kind of normal, boring apartment. We have beige carpet, we have kind of like that weird off-white cream colored walls, we have this awful light woodwork. It's just like a very cookie cutter beige kind of apartment. But I think that the minimalism looks good on beige as well. I think this apartment looks so much better with less stuff in it than it ever did when it was just packed full of mismatchy stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, so if you are watching this on YouTube, all the links are down below. If you're watching this on my blog as well, all the links will be down below. If you're watching it on my blog, you can feel free to hit the contact button up there if you have anything you'd like to share, if you have any comments that you don't want to make just below this post, or if you have topics you'd like me to talk about in a future pen talk. Or if you're on YouTube and you have requests like that, put them in the comments down below. Yeah, and I guess that's it. I will see you guys later. Bye!